The following podcast is recommended for mature audiences only. The following podcast is recommended for adults only. Maturity is not a requirement.
Hello and welcome to episode 32 of Dear Download, a podcast where we get to share our most intimate and treasured memories of Download Festival. We'll talk about each year and the bands we saw, the bands we missed, and everything else noteworthy that happened across the weekend. Also, we'll touch upon any news, other festivals, and the music industry past, present and future. This episode we are talking about albums that turned 10 years old this year, so the albums that were released in 2012. I am Adam, and as always, I am here with Simon.
Hello, and good day to you, sir.
How are you doing, man?
I'm good, mate. Really good. Really good. Just me and Adam were saying before, I am currently surrounded by boxes in my room. It's not as aesthetically pleasing as it normally is, as we're getting ready to move house in a couple of weeks. So, yeah, just sitting in a box space. But yeah, I'm good. Apart from packing, I kind of feel like that's what I've been doing. I don't.
It looks like that's all you've been doing.
Yeah, I know. I don't really have anything to report. I will say, it's October, which is the best month because it's the month where me and Vicky watch nothing but horror films.
Yeah, I did see your post about that.
Yeah,
just before coming up.
Yeah, so on our list for all you horror fans out there, the list for this month is The Witch, Suspiria, Dawn of the Dead, but the 1984 one, The Cube, Overlord, Jeepers Creepers, A Nightmare on Elm Street, Life Force, and The Faculty. That's the lineup I've gone with. Also, A Night of the Comet, which I realised I could get on YouTube because I couldn't find it anywhere. But yeah, I love it because Vicky isn't too... she likes horror films, like, afterwards, but when she's great to watch them with because she always jumps and gets scared. So even when like we're watching a film that I've watched a million times, like Aliens or something, she always jumps at the bits that you would expect someone to jump at. And it kind of makes you go, oh, Jesus. So you get doubly scared, even though you know it's coming. So it's really fun to watch horror movies with her. So I really like doing that. So I can't wait to show her some of these. But I haven't seen The Witch. And I haven't seen... there was another one I hadn't seen. I haven't seen Overlord either. So two of those films I actually haven't seen myself. So cool. I'm excited to, watch them. And I don't really get scared, but I'm just excited to watch them. So yeah, do you watch any horror movies during the month of October?
We don't have it scheduled as soon as it gets to October, like you. We're maybe not as organised as you, but yeah, the next sort of 2 to 3 weeks, we'll probably sit down and go, yeah, do you know what? We should probably watch some horror films.
That's cool.
And one horror film I'm looking forward to watching is Feed Me.
Oh yeah, of course. Leaders
I think
film.
We should probably talk about that.
We definitely should talk about that.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So, go on. Do you want to say what it is?
Yes. Yeah. So, some of you, if you were listening right from the beginning, our episode number 4 was with Adam Leader, friend of the show, Simon's long-term friend, I think, isn't it?
Definitely.
He's known for a long time. And so, yeah, he's the lead singer of In Search of Sun. And we spoke to him about what it was like to play at Download Festival. But we also talked about the movie that he had made called Hosts. And he's recently made another one called Feed Me about a year ago. I think it was sort of finished. Was it about a year ago?
Yeah, about that. He was literally round my house on my birthday. Him and Sam, his girlfriend, his fiance, had done a secret visit. And Vicky didn't tell me. So they surprised me and came over. And he was telling me all about, the film and how production was going and how they were trying to, get the film out there and stuff. So, yeah, it's really exciting to see. I tell him I'm always proud of what he does, always. Anything he does with a band, anything he does movie-wise, I'm always like 100% behind him. So it's so exciting when you see one of your best mates in the entire world doing so well because he is a very, very talented man. And Richard, who made the film with him, I've never met him personally, but I've heard like really good things. You know, leader wouldn't spend so much time with someone if they weren't cool. So
Yeah.
it's great. And I bet it's going to be awesome. So they're in LA
He's
at the moment.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah, they're in LA, but you know, just with the release of the film, and you know, they've got all this praise and you know all these like awesome horror magazines and articles written about them. And I know Leader is a huge horror fan. Like, you know, when we were together, he was always talking about horror movies. We watched loads of horror movies together. He just loved. We always made films together. We made films in his garage, in his bedroom, everywhere. Me and him were always making movies. So I knew his love for it. So really happy and proud to see your friend doing well. So anyone listening, obviously, if you like horror, look out for Feed Me. I'm sure we'll share something about it once it's properly released on the page.
I've wanted to, but I don't. I didn't know what to actually share because he's been sharing so much about it recently.
Yeah.
So they've been invited to around 20 different film festivals with it, haven't they?
Yeah, loads.
And most of them I've never heard of before. Well, probably all of them I'd never heard of before.
You know,
but some of them are massive festivals.
Yeah, definitely. So we'll see. We'll speak to him and ask him what he wants us to do, but we'll help him out in some way. You know, we'll try and get it out there to anyone that listens to the show, because it's always good to you know, help your friends out, especially if you actually like what they're doing. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've seen all the stuff he's been posting, but only because I'm his friend on Facebook. So I thought it'd be good to post out to people who aren't friends with him, so they can see what's going on with it as well.
Definitely.
And be just as proud of him as we are. I couldn't believe it. It was incredible when I saw that they were going to LA. And he posted another a little video saying, you know, I've just been spending the day with the guys at Knotfest. I don't know who it was that he was walking along with. I don't know if you saw that one.
No,
but
I didn't.
You know, then it was like, and then we went to watch the new Hellraiser movie. I don't know if that's out yet, or that's part of like the behind the scene premieres that there's going on all over there.
It's being released. Yeah, it's like a full Hellraiser reboot. So
yeah, that
should be interesting.
But yeah, lots of awesome things happening for Adam Leader over there at the moment, and like you said, good luck to him, and glad that it's going really well.
Yeah, definitely.
Really nice to see.
Definitely, always good. I'm sure he'll make his way back onto the podcast at some point for something in Search of Sun or movie related.
Yeah. If he doesn't want to, he will. We'll make
I'll
him
force
somehow.
him to. I'll beg him to. He'll come back on.
Yeah, but that's cool. Yeah, I was also going to say, Cube. If Vicky likes Cube, or you know, if you want to watch another film similar to Cube, I would recommend The Platform.
Oh, I heard about that. I heard it was mental, like a really mental film, but I never got around to watching it. But yeah. I definitely wanted to watch that film.
Yeah, I I wanted to watch it, but Kelly was never that keen. Well, she was keen, but there was always something else that we wanted to watch, or she wanted to watch. So I watched it one day when she was at work, and it was my day off, and she wasn't too happy about that, but we were never going to get around to watching it. So I was like, I'm going to watch it.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely want to watch that. Yeah, when I saw someone, it wasn't you, it was someone else that was talking about it and saying that it was really awesome. It was messed up. It was probably Leader, to be fair, but yeah, could have been Jacob.
Jacob saw it before me, and maybe he was telling me about it at Download.
Oh, that could have been it, actually. Yeah. Possibly I was intoxicated for these discussions. But yeah.
Cool. Well, there's probably nothing else you want to talk about over the last couple of weeks. So I haven't really done a lot either, to be fair. I think I've done like 3 11-hour days over the last couple of weeks.
Wow, okay.
I did one today. Literally, I got home, started cooking immediately, and it was about 10 minutes after finishing tea I had to come up to this. So it's getting very busy at work at the moment, and I'm pretty shattered. But it's got to be done.
Yeah, and they say nurses have it tough, ladies and gentlemen.
No, it's not too bad. It's not. For anybody who doesn't know, I'm a postman, but I'm just driving around doing the large parcels. I wouldn't be able to do it if I was on my feet still, just walking with a bike. Having a van is much easier job than walking around posting mail. But so yeah, it's just long days. It's not particularly taxing, really.
Just long.
Yeah. But I don't know. I was saying last episode that I was struggling with my back a little bit, and that's eased off now. It was Monday I messaged you, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And it was weird. Like, it was just suddenly, it wasn't 100% better, but I was like, I can actually think again. Like, just the pain. I don't want to say pain. I don't want to sound too bad.
Just the discomfort.
Discomfort and the aching constantly. I didn't even sort of realize that it was like a fog over my mind. And on Monday, I was like, I can think again. Right, I need to get back onto planning stuff for the podcast. I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. It was great. But
does it take you less than a minute to climb out of the bed now?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I'm still a little bit stiff in the mornings, but I can move.
Good. Okay. Good.
Yeah, a bit more.
That's good, man.
Yeah, but I don't know. Like maybe Saturday or Sunday, it was my shoulders decided to start hurting. And it was like, when you, at Download, when you've done that walk in and you've carried a really, really heavy bag on your shoulders and you take it off and you've got that pain right at the top of your shoulders.
Yeah.
That's what it was like. But I was like, I haven't carried any really heavy bags for a long time.
Weird.
So I thought it was like a new type of arthritis or something coming on. I never had it there before. But I don't know.
Maybe you're having like weird flashbacks. You're
maybe
you're going back to when you were. It's like being in Vietnam. You're you feel like you're going back to Download again, and you start to feel your shoulders aching and like, oh no.
Yeah, it could be PTSD from the walk-in.
Download PTSD.
I bet it has happened to somebody. Probably someone with a trolley as well. Actually, do you know, I've always meant to say, but I never have. Like, I never ever take a trolley for the walk-in or the walk-out. It is more handy to have a trolley, but you fill it up with more stuff that you can carry. And if something goes wrong, you're just stood in a field with more stuff than you can carry.
True. So... You've just got to be clever with what you bring, because I see people never ever bring anything with small wheels, because they will either break or grass or mud will get caught on them, and you will be dragging whatever it is. Like, the wheels have to be over a certain size to be eligible for a decent sack truck for Download. So I see people making the same mistakes every single year. So I learned the hard way. I done it once and I was like, fucking idiot, stupid. So always go with as big wheels as possible as you can get on the thing. And then I think you'd be all right. But yeah, I agree. You take more stuff. But I've got so used to bringing a trolley now, I won't do Download without a trolley ever again. Nope.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
I won't do Download with a trolley ever.
Damn. That's what I was going to get you for Christmas.
Oh, I don't really want it.
I was going to send you a trolley for next year's Download.
Just get me trolleyed, it'll be fine.
You're not getting it. Get you trolleyed. Yeah. That's what we're after.
Oh, one other thing. I thought about it actually when you were talking about horror films. We had like a fair here over last weekend. All the carnival rides and the carnival stalls and like the big rides. And I went up there with Soren, my son, on the Saturday night, and he wanted to go on the ghost train. He'd never been on a ghost train before.
Oh, wicked.
I think because his sister wants to go on a ghost train, he was like, oh, I'm going to have to now. He's wanted to before once, and then we got to it, and he was like, no, I don't want to go on it anymore. So we went on it, and he was quite scared. And as soon as you sort of go through the doors into the back, he put his hands over his eyes.
That's a classic move.
And I think he was quite scared. And the first bit is there's like a big spider above you. And then when we came off, we were talking about it, and he said he enjoyed it. And I said, did you see the spider? And he said, yeah. And I said, well, didn't you have your hands over your eyes? And he said, I peeked. And I thought that's amazing. Like, I wasn't expecting him to actually peek. I thought he was really scared, hiding behind his hands.
Yeah, I suppose though, when you're that age, you are scared of it, but you're also intrigued to see
Yeah.
what it is. Like, I probably would have
Yeah.
done the exact same thing, been like crapping myself, but also being like, kind of want to see, but also I'm
Yeah.
really scared. So that
Yeah.
makes a lot of sense. That's actually quite, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah, cool. Well, shall we, if there's nothing else, shall we move on to either news or new releases? I don't know if you've done a...
I've got some new releases. I haven't got any news. Do you have any
Okay.
actual news?
No. I thought we were going to go... Oh, I suppose we had new releases, because we were obviously going to talk about Slipknot's new album, but yeah, that'll be in the new releases, I guess, won't it?
It will.
Yeah. I don't have any news then.
Okay.
I think I did have at one point some news over the last 2 weeks, but I don't remember what it was.
I won't say news, but like every other question on the Download Facebook groups is just, when are they releasing news? When are they going to do that? Everyone's just writing it. Just wait. Just be patient, people. We're all as eager as everyone else, but I'm not going to write on there for the millionth time and the 50th post that I've already seen, just so people will respond to my post. Just everyone calm down for a bit. It's normally around October, November time. We'll get there. It's all good.
Yeah.
They always let us know a few days before they do it. So you're obviously going to be told it's going to come. Normally on a Monday.
Yeah.
So everyone just chill out, okay? We're all buzzing, okay? We're all ready. We all want to see what it is. But everyone just calm the fuck down. Just, just wait.
Well, going on that, as it's news, it probably is quite some quite good news. On Monday when I was like, I need to make plans, I thought, well, next episode we could talk about the lineup and what we are predicting or what we expected if it's already out. Knowing our luck, we've been waiting all this time. We planned to do an episode about the lineup, and it gets released before we do it. But so I'm hoping to get a few guests on as well for that episode. So because I'm sure we've said roughly what we think. The other people on the other podcasts have said roughly what they think, but I think it'll be good to bounce off each other and talk about each other's ideas of what might happen.
Okay, sounds good to me.
Hopefully we should have Kev and Jem from Ready to Mosh podcast. I've said it a few times. Kev came on to our RIP episode, and then went and made his own podcast. So hopefully we'll get them on to us. And I've also asked Matt from Nevermind Polly podcast. He's come back to me and said, he'd love to come on. He's not sure about the date at the moment, but it's in the works, and it should be a really, really good episode next episode. And I've got some theories. I might say them in a minute here, because one is related to Slipknot. But we don't have to. I want to say it before it's too late. Basically, we don't have to go into too much depth of discussing it, but I have a theory on Slipknot anyway, at least.
Okay, shall we?
So
do you want to say that now before we get into the releases? We can do the Slipknot one first, so it goes into it. So we'll go into releases before we talk about the Slipknot album. What have you got, buddy?
Well, you probably noticed as well. It was Alexander actually who posted in our Discord saying that Slipknot have been announced for 2 different festivals, like in the same day. They were actually announced for 3 different festivals in the same day, and it was 3 days before the release of their album. So I believe that Slipknot probably put a clause in the contract saying you can't announce that you've got us or announce anything until we say so, basically, until this date, because it puts the hype up for the album.
Coincides with the album. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. And so I think if Download had Slipknot, they would have announced them the same day. So at the moment, I don't think Download have got Slipknot.
You don't?
Unless no. I think they would have announced them the same day. Unless they're trying to get them. Unless they had other people and it's coming a bit later. Well, it's not later compared to usual, but they did say we would get it a bit earlier this year. So they're holding off because they're trying to sort something out to try and get Slipknot on the bill.
Okay.
My theory is there won't be any Slipknot at Download 2023.
Well, I think there's a possibility that you might be right there, because I think people were putting up dates that Slipknot put up in June next year, and apparently there's only one date that they're not playing in another country.
Okay.
I think, they're playing on the 8th of June. They're playing on the 7th of June. They're playing on I think the 9th was the only day that they had open.
Right.
But they're playing in the Netherlands the next day. So they're playing the 8th in Czech Republic, Rock for People, and then they're playing on the 10th in the Netherlands. Now, to get to the Netherlands from England is not a huge deal. It's like a fucking 45-minute flight. It doesn't really matter. But it all matters with setup. So I'm thinking, unless they, a lot of bands carry 2 setups. So you play one in one location while another one is being set up in another location, which makes sense. Yeah. So you can play dates quicker. Does. But for a festival, that's not quite the same. So, if it's your own show, it depends. So these are festivals, so I don't know how much they could bring with them. So there's still a slim possibility of Slipknot playing, but I would probably go to the Slipknot not playing camp. But we could be wrong. There is a small gap in their dates. So you could be right there, dude. Could be very right.
Maybe they'll play a secret set on one of the smaller stages so they haven't got to bring all their stuff.
All that. Yeah. I mean, and again, why do they have to headline?
Yeah.
They could be main support for someone, play a quick show without all of their setup and then crack on to the next country. I don't know. Depends on what they want to do, innit? I know that obviously they could headline a festival, but I mean, they don't have to, do they, really? Probably not. Say they were playing under Metallica. They'd be like, we'll open for Metallica.
Yeah, that's
why
true.
not?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They've done it. I'm sure they've done it in other places. So, who knows? But,
Yeah. I have another theory on Metallica, but you have to wait until next week for that.
Ooh.
Next episode.
Boy, do we love that wait, mate.
Yeah.
wait.
So, new releases. Sorry.
New releases.
Yeah, new releases.
Yeah, so we shall start with the new Slipknot album, The End So Far. Now, the title, is it called The End So Far because this is their last album on Roadrunner?
It was just called The End, and people were questioning it. So I think they changed the name of it. They added the So Far, so people weren't thinking it's the end for Slipknot.
Yeah.
But it is because it's the last one with Roadrunner.
I mean, before we talk about the album, let's not underplay how much of a huge deal that is. Slipknot have literally been on Roadrunner Records since the self-titled album in 1999. They've been on this record label for a long time, and they've, made it huge. They've been through all the good times, the bad times that the labels had, in not recent years, but, not so long ago years. And I read a little article with Corey Taylor saying that the reason they're leaving is not because they do anything badly, it's that they don't feel the sort of vibe that they got from everyone before. No one they know works there anymore. All the people that helped them, through the early days and into now, everyone's gone, and they're saying it just feels like a completely different thing. I think he said it's a shadow of its former self.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I'd not seen anything about that.
I mean,
that is
we done a whole. So again, I love shouting out our own podcast episodes during our podcast. We done 2 episodes.
I'm glad you started doing that.
We done 2 episodes on Roadrunner Records, which are very interesting. So if you're interested in Roadrunner Records, Slipknot, all that sort of stuff, we done 2 episodes on it. Can't remember which number, but go back and have a look because they were really good episodes. I loved talking about Roadrunner, all the sick stuff on there. But yeah, this is a massive deal. We were only talking about what were they? A couple of episodes talking about how Nickelback are on Roadrunner, and so are Slipknot, and it's crazy that Nickelback have sold more records than Slipknot, but Slipknot have sold a hell of a lot of records as well. But it's just crazy. It's literally the end of an era.
Yeah,
this is the end of an era that has spanned over 20 years. And it's crazy. That bit kind of was just like, wow, Slipknot won't be on Roadrunner anymore. What the hell are they going to put out next? Apparently, they're going it by alone. They're going through no label.
And I don't blame them. If you can, then do it.
They will be one of the biggest independent bands going because they won't be on a label. Everything will be done themselves, which I think is incredible. I think that's going to be. Well, they must know the industry so well by now. A lot of them produce other people's bands. They do all the studio stuff and all that. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see what they do on the next one, because a lot of people were saying they only done this album so they could get out of their Roadrunner contract.
Right. I've not seen that, but it makes sense if they were contracted to do 7 albums.
Yeah, which I don't think they did, but
no, they must have been planning on putting another album out. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Roadrunner done everything they could possibly do to keep them on, because they are, the second biggest thing that they have going, and a huge draw for money. I mean, God knows where they're going to recoup Slipknot money from in the future. But yeah. So yeah, but do you want to talk about the album?
Yeah.
What was
me or us?
Well, you. What was your take? Did you listen? How many times did you listen? What did you like? What did you didn't like? What?
So I've only listened to it a couple of times.
Okay.
But it was a couple of good times. Not sometimes I sometimes listen to an album and I get to the end and I'm like, what happened? Where did the album go? Right? And I've been thinking about other things. But yeah, I did have a good couple of listens.
Okay.
And the first time it wasn't. And then I kept seeing people talking about the first track. And then when I listened to it the second time, I was like, this is a weird first track, yeah. I don't understand it. It sounds like it should be at the end of the album. I don't know why they would have put it at the beginning. Briefly going off, I think I might have said it. I thought the same about Iron Maiden's album, Senjutsu. I thought it would be better if it, all the same songs on there, but they were just reordered a little bit.
Okay.
I planned to try it, but I never got around to sort of listening to it properly and going, right, this one should be here, this one should be here. But yeah, no, there was nothing spectacular about it. Nothing blew me away. There's a couple of good songs. I need to get the album out. We've been doing this for all the albums we've been listening to.
I wrote them down this time insteed of, because last time I was just going onto Spotify, but I actually wrote them down this time. Midnight.
The end so far. I can't remember which one it was. But yeah, there's definitely one that I'm like that has really growing on me, and I'm sure the whole album would, if I listened to it more and more. I don't know. So this is the first album I've listened to properly since Iowa.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought you really wouldn't like this. Do you know why? Because it's, in a way, not content-wise, but style-wise, very similar to Subliminal Verses. This is the second weirdest album Slipknot have ever made. Subliminal Verses being the weirdest in Slipknot context. It's not a weird album. It was a weird album for Slipknot to put out at the time. It's not weird for Slipknot to do those things now, so this isn't quite as jarring, but there still are jarring things on this, as there were on Subliminal Verses. And I know that you said at the time, you were like, nope, and then you just didn't listen to another Slipknot album again. Yeah,
no. So for me, I think what did it was the first, maybe it's not even on the second album actually, but the first album where you've got like the really high guitar bits, like boop, 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 and it never really, as far as I'm aware, I don't think they've ever really used that kind of sound since, and it's like that's the heavy but also melodic kind of sound that I want, and not want, but that I would expect from Slipknot, and they've changed too much for me, I think.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I just thought, because I as soon as I heard the whole album once through, I was instantly like, this has got really big Subliminal Verses, sort of, you know, I get that vibe from it. So I thought, I remember Adam saying on the podcast that he really didn't like Subliminal, even though I'm sorry to say, I think Subliminal Verses is probably my favourite Slipknot album. It's by far top 2 or 3, without a shadow of a doubt. It's a great album. It's probably a toss up between that, the first one, and Iowa. They're the three. They're the 3 big boys for me. And All Hope Is Gone is severely underrated as well. I've spoken about how underrated that album is before. But yeah. Yeah,
listen, looking at the track list for Subliminal Verses, there's a few songs, quite a few songs on there that I like, actually.
Yeah.
I forgot they were on that album.
Yeah, big hits on that album. They really did have some huge hits off that one.
I think Pulse of the Maggots was the first one they released, wasn't it? And then Vermilion was the second one. And Vermilion was weird, and I think that's what put me off, maybe. But then they
good.
I forgot Pulse of the Maggots even existed. That's a good song. Mm-hmm. Before I forget, you can't forget that one. It was just on everything at the time. Duality. That's a push fingers into my eyes one, isn't it?
Yep. It's like one of the biggest Slipknot songs. That album is littered with hits.
Wasn't
Like, literally.
I thought that was on Iowa.
Nope, it was not.
They sing the slowly stops the air made of all. It's duality. Okay, I have been lying to all of you. I think I like Vermilion. Not Vermilion.
Subliminal Verses.
Subliminal Verses Part 3. I didn't realise how much I liked it. I apologise.
There you go. He's finally fessed up, people. He's been dissing it the whole time.
What's either wrong with me? But I've just noticed they haven't actually got... Oh, no, they got the 10th anniversary edition. I was going to say, they haven't actually got their first album on
annoyingly,
Spotify.
and I hate when bands do this on Spotify, when they bring out anniversary versions of the albums, they get rid of the original version of the album, they put the new one on, but they put the new one on as the date when it was re-released. So when you scroll down, the first album on Spotify isn't the first album, it's the second album. So when people are going to listen to these bands for the first time, how annoyingly confusing is that? Aya was the first album when you scroll down, but that's not right, because it's not.
No.
Sorry. Stuff like that
really,
really annoys me. Stupid stuff like that when it comes to Spotify makes me really angry. And that deluxe edition and anniversary edition bowls really drives me mad. Hate that.
I have to reimagine everything I've ever thought of Slipknot, I think, now. I feel like I'm not in a position to talk about the new album now.
Well, yeah, you are, because you listen to it, so it's fine.
My whole history and what I think of Slipknot is false.
It's been thrown out of whack. He doesn't know where his Slipknot compass lies now.
Yeah.
You know, in the compass in those films where they go up to like a thing that's like some sort of magnet and the compass starts going, that's what you're feeling now, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah.
It's okay, man. We'll steady it.
Yeah.
Maybe what you should do is you should listen to Iowa, listen to Subliminal Verses, and then just see where you got mixed up.
Yeah.
Be like, oh shit, I thought that was that. It's easy though, because like the first 3 Slipknot albums are just all of them are unbelievable. It's like, how could you do 3 albums just one after the other like that? Damn, that's so good. 4, all the way up. They've masterpieces all the way up to All Hope Is Gone, and then I didn't really like the Grey Chapter that much. We Are Not Your Kind was really good, and I think that this is excellent.
Okay.
Would you like to know what I think about this?
Yeah, I was just about to say, go for it. Let's hear what you think.
Hello.
Sorry.
Hi, my name's Simon. I've listened to this probably 8 times. I listened to it once, and I thought, okay. Then I listened to it for a second time, and I thought, okay, I'm getting more. Couldn't absorb it on the first time. Second time, okay. Third time, okay. Then I just found myself continuously listening to it and actually really, really enjoying it. And like I said before, the best songs on this album are the songs that have parts, at least, or sound the least like Slipknot. So the songs that sound the most like Slipknot on this album are not as good as songs that sound like Slipknot on other albums. Like, you could take any of the heavier ones in this album, go to another album, a very similar song that's twice as good. But the songs that they've experimented on in more, for instance, Adderall, the first song, Yen, Medicine for the Damned, Acidic, all really, weird, eerie bits that I think Slipknot really need to play with more. Since Iowa, and Iowa's an evil album. That album sounds evil. It's an evil piece of work. It is so good. They need to do another creepy, evil album. They need to stop with the nice, beautiful hooks. They need to stop with all the nice, beautiful singing. They can do parts of that, but I just think that the songs that sound like Slipknot now, it's getting a bit like Killswitch got. Here's the singing part, here's the screaming part, here's the breakdown part, here's the singing part, here's the screaming part. Do you know what I mean? It feels a bit predictable, but on the songs when they're free to experiment and kind of try something new, I think that those songs are excellent. Like the first song, Adderall, that everyone's gone on about being a really weird intro to the album, I was sitting there, right, trying to think what it sounds like. And I was playing it in the car on the way to Vicky's parents. And she goes, I started playing, so I said, babe, what do you think of the new Slipknot album? And she went, oh, this is a weird intro. I went, yeah. She goes, it sounds like Elbow. And I went, you've just made my mind explode. Because this sounds exactly like Elbow. This could be on an Elbow album, and I don't think anyone would notice. And I was like, wow, okay, that's exactly what my brain was searching for, that I couldn't access. And she just went straight away, just came up with it.
Nice.
But yeah, like I said, I think Yen is fantastic. I think it could be up there with some of the best Slipknot songs. And Medicine for the Damned is great. All the other songs in it are good, but I can get heavy Slipknot that's better somewhere else, even though I still like them. Like overall, I would give this album probably a 7.5, 8 out of 10. It's really good, and the more I listen to it, I've really, really started to enjoy it. It's definitely a grower rather than a shower.
Yeah.
Like, so, I listened to Aya and I was like, oh my God, that was amazing, straight away.
Just blown away first listen.
And Subliminal Verses was like, oh my God, like, what just happened to my brain? But this, I was like, okay, it is good, but I had to listen to it to a few times to absorb everything that was happening. But yes, I am quite happy with it and very interested to see now that they can do literally whatever they want. Whatever the hell they want, they can put out. They've got no one to answer to now. No one to tell them what direction to go in. No one tell them what to do, all that. It's all whatever. So I'm so psyched to see what the hell they do next. You know what I mean? Like, they could make a death metal, deathcore album, or they could make an acoustic album. I really don't know with Slipknot. And I think that is very cool and interesting when you don't know what a band is going to do. Yeah. Because if a band's predictable, it's like, well, we know what the next album's going to be. It's going to be more of this. But now we're actually like, I genuinely have no idea what Slipknot are going to do next, which is exciting.
Yeah, and it's just a shame there's probably going to be 3 or 4 years until we actually hear that now, though.
Yeah, but
a while.
Another thing, sorry, we won't go on about this too long. I know this is taking up a big part, but it is quite a really, really highly talked about thing at the moment. I'll be very interested to see what they play live off of this.
Yeah, because that's one thing I thought about when I heard the first song, Adderall, and I thought, would they even attempt this live? If they like this song, if they like the style, would they try and do it live? Like, how many members does it actually include?
Yeah. Yeah, again, same question. What the hell are they going to play? They can play some of the heavy ones live and some of the singles. Like, Yen's a good mix of heavy and melodic and stuff. There's probably a few they could play off of it, but I would be interested to see which ones they do, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's Yen that has grown on me a lot.
Really good.
The Chapeltown Rag, not so much. I wouldn't recognise that if I heard it.
That's actually my least favourite song on the album. I like there's something bad about it. I just don't think it's a very interesting song. I think everything else on it I really like, but the Shackleton Rag is like, I'll sit through it. But then as soon as it gets to Yen, which is the next song, I'm like, oh, so good. Yeah. So yeah, I'm sure I'll grow to love Shackleton Rag as well, but it's my least favourite song on the album currently. Yeah.
I am gonna go and listen to all of Slipknot. I would normally say at this point, I'm gonna make sure I listen to it a couple more times with your opinion, so I can pretend I've got an opinion and say, oh yeah, I agree. No,
you do have an opinion. You've got a very good opinion. Yeah, okay. That's it. Well, shall I quickly run through the two other ones that I've got releases before we move on to the main subject?
Yeah, go for it.
Just quickly. So, Devin Townsend released a new song from his upcoming album, Call of the Void, of the album of the same name. Really good. Typically weird, dreamy Devin Townsend song. Everything you would expect from Devin Townsend. Awesome. Can't wait for the new album. And another thing that's been big this week, I'm not a Paramore fan by any means. I don't really pay attention to what they've put out. I haven't heard any of their albums for a long, long time, I would say. But I was intrigued because a lot of people I know like them, and a lot of people out there like them. So I was like, okay, I'm going to listen to the new Paramore song that everyone's talking about and see. I was like, what the hell is this? This is really weird. I remember Paramore being
back in my day,
alt rock / emo / pop punky. This is like, The only way I can explain this is imagine if Incubus went pop, but turned all their distortion off. That's what this Paramore song sounds like. And I was like...
Interesting analogy.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is not what I was expecting. Then again, I'm just saying, I haven't listened to Paramore in a very long time, but it was definitely not what I was expecting. And I think there are a lot of Paramore fans that like it, but there are a lot of Paramore fans that really don't like it. So I just needed to listen to it to be part of the conversation. So to me, sounds like Incubus, but they've gone pop and they've turned all the distortion off.
Yeah.
That's the new Paramore. So do with that what you will.
Well, I think that's interesting. There's going to be something I want to talk about in a very similar sort of vein a bit later on in the show. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll definitely get to that. I haven't listened to it properly. Kelly put it on. I sort of was doing something else. I heard it in the background. Yeah, it doesn't sound like emo or pop punk or anything they've done before. But I don't think their last... Was it the last album, like 5 years ago, where they just decided to go like really 80s?
I heard that. I never listened to it, but I heard that they went really 80s, and I love 80s stuff, so I might actually give that a listen.
Yeah.
Because if there's anything 80s, I'll probably like it. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure the first single they released was kind of catchy. I think I listened to it quite a few times with Kelly. But
okay. Oh, yeah, I might have to give it a listen, I think.
Anything spectacular. Well, I didn't enjoy it. But I wasn't thinking at the time that it was really pop punk or emo either. So it seems like this has come as such a surprise to everyone when the last one wasn't what people expected.
That makes more sense now, because it sounds like a really hard sort of, turn away 180 from where they were. But if they've been going in a different direction since, then cool. But for me, it felt jarring. But I'm going in as someone who remembers what Paramore sounded like in 2006. I have no idea what they've sounded like since. So, I'll see. But I might check out that 80 stuff because, I mean, that's another good shout for download next year. Paramore, I'm not saying headline, but definitely to play. They're a huge band. It'll be a massive steal for download. They're really popular. Yeah. Really popular. That would be a great steal if we could get Paramore at download. And if no one I liked was playing at the same time, rather, I would give them a watch.
Yeah.
Just to see, what all the hype's been about all this time. But yeah, that's it. That's all the releases I have. Only a couple of things. There was like 15 last week. And there's only been 3 things I've listened to this week. One thing I didn't put in my notes, I think Lorna Shore released another track, but I haven't listened to it yet. So I won't put it in there. Because I have no opinion, because I haven't listened to it. So
yeah, I don't think I've listened to anything new this week. Only all the albums that you gave me to listen to, all my homework. Nice. So I should get caught up on other new stuff after this week.
Okay, shall I mention just the 3 albums that I think we missed from last week's honourable mentions?
Oh yes, yeah, go for it.
So we done the episode last week, so if you haven't listened to that, we were speaking about albums that turned 20, and there was so many albums released in 2002, like good ones. And there was a few that I think we should have at least mentioned, not necessarily talked about, but at least mentioned in some capacity. So Sum 41, Does This Look Infected? I loved that album at the time. Still think it's got some really, really good tunes on it, so we should have mentioned that. Red Hot Chili Peppers, By the Way, which I listened to in full a couple of months ago. Incredible album. I still love that album so much. So we should have mentioned that.
What? And what's on it? Is that with Californication on? And
no,
okay, I don't know it then.
No, that was the album before. That was on Californication.
Oh, shut up. That's being cut. Absolutely cut. No. Carry on. Sorry, it's not being cut. I won't cut it.
So this one's got By the Way. Can't Stop as well.
Yeah,
it's got some great, really, really great tracks on By the Way, and Foo Fighters. Even though I don't like this album that much, I don't think it's a great Foo Fighters album. It's still got some really big singles on it, which was Foo Fighters One by One. So I thought those were just worth mentioning from ones that we missed, just in case people were saying, well, why didn't you, say those albums? Well, now we have. Leave me alone.
Yeah,
Adam, let's move on.
Awesome. Yeah, let's move on. Well, before we move on, actually, we should probably do our little bit that we do before the main topic this time. A very cool thing, actually. We did the jazz hands, didn't we, to bring to bring Ronnie in, and we had a message from Alexander saying, "I did the jazz hands. Thank you for joining us."
Yeah.
And helping him come down from wherever he was. I don't think we said, did we? But
He was just
that was very, very
hanging
cool.
around somewhere.
But yeah, so well, we should probably mention the ultimate lineup again. Just really briefly here, and we're doing it on our Discord. I finally started the sub-headliners for the Friday. I've done a couple so far, and so we should be moving on with that. It'll be interesting to see who wins. I think at first I thought it was definitely going to be one band who was heading for the win all the way, but I think there's another one that might pip them.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to be interesting. So yeah, if you want to join us and vote for the ultimate lineup that we're doing, if anybody who is new doesn't know what that is, basically we're taking all the bands that played in a specific slot over the years at Download. So like I said, this is the sub headliner for the Friday on the main stage. So every band who has played there over every year, we're putting them against each other in like a tournament and seeing who wins. And we're going to try and make the ultimate lineup from just doing that. It's going to take a while, but it's going to be very cool at the same time doing it. So
Definitely.
Come and join us on our Discord. You can find the link in the show notes. If you want to join us on anything else, we're on all the social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, all sorts. You can just search us, Dear Download or Dear Download Podcast. We're findable, I'm pretty sure now, on everything. You don't need me to spell it out like a lot of people do forever. I'm not going to bother doing that.
No, it's good actually. We've got good. You type in, Dear Download, it comes up pretty much instantly on anything, or even Dear Download Podcast. You have to go a little bit further on places like Twitter, but we come up. It's awesome.
Yeah. Though I did search for Download Festival in podcasts on Spotify actually the other day, just wondering if there's anybody that I'd missed that does things about Download Festival that we could invite on for the next episode.
The weird thing about our podcast is we actually do more episodes not about Download Festival than we do about Download Festival, because festival season is only for like 6 to 8 weeks of the year. And all the rest of the time, we just speak about music in general. So, we're based around Download Festival and it's mentioned in all of our episodes. But if me and you were trying to do an episode just about Download Festival, I mean, what else would we have left to talk about right now? We're talking about what kind of grass they have on Donington Field, and just, so what kind of grass is this and stuff like that. I have a grass expert on. That actually sounds pretty cool. We should do that.
That does sound pretty cool, but we're not going to do that.
Okay, I back out of that. That's not a stupid idea. That's a great idea. But do you know what I mean? So we have to sort of, we do more episodes not about Download than we actually do.
I think that's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's great. We're 32 episodes in, and we've only talked about 2003, 2004, and 2005. Oh, and the recent ones, actually, the pilot.
Yeah, of course.
But going from the beginning, so like we'll get back to them. But it is nice to be able to not feel guilty about going back to talk about Download. Like I did earlier in this episode, talking about the trolleys.
Yeah.
If it wasn't a Download Festival podcast, that would just be weird, just talking about Download all the time.
Yeah,
going
that
back
would
to
be,
it.
That's true.
It's like one of those weird people who end up talking about their ex-girlfriend constantly.
Yeah, it's true. Well, it's okay. We're still married to Download. We're still a happy couple.
Yeah.
We just we do our own thing, and then we go back every year, and Download loves us again. So that's all good.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, time.
Don't yawn on my time, man.
Sorry, my bad. But yeah, like I said, not long ago or a while ago, I don't know how much I'm going to cut and not cut. Like I said, come and join us on everything you can. Do what you can for us, like you would do for any other podcast. Go and review us on iTunes or tell your friends about us. All the great things that you can do for a podcast, go and do them for us.
Yes, please.
And we should probably bring in Ronnie.
Should we do
at
that?
This point? Yeah.
Should we coax him in? Unfortunately, this week he won't come out. He won't come out. And so just imagine this, right?
You're in the closet. Ronnie won't come out of the closet.
You're on the green. Okay, you're on the green. It's your final shot. You've got your putter in your hand. Ronnie will not come out unless you sink this putt. Okay? So everyone needs to just concentrate. Okay? Everyone's just close your eyes for a second. Just imagine the grass under your feet. We don't know what kind of grass that could be, but we'll find out in the next episode. Okay? But just picture your feet on the floor and just imagine the putt. Think about the hole. Now open your eyes. Look at the hole. Look at the ball. Hit it. It's done. It's in. There you go. Birdie. Ronnie, come down. Bless us. Bless us with the instalment of the episode.
You got the grass bit in. That was amazing. Awesome. Thank you, Ronnie.
Symphony Download!
So the main topic this episode is albums that turn 10 years old this year. And, well, I guess, do you want to start with the honourable mentions?
Yes. So albums that were released in the year of our dear Satan 2012. What do you remember about that year? Did you watch the Olympics?
I probably did. No, I doubt I did. Not very much.
Just before we start, let me just Google what happened in 2012. Wasn't it the year as well that Nostradamus predicted that the world would end, and everyone was really worried about it at the time? I remember that.
Was it the Mayans? The Mayan calendar ended in 2012, maybe.
Oh, was that it as well? It was definitely Nostradamus as well. Was saying that it was
Nostradamus. I don't know. I don't remember much of what he's predicted.
The Costa Concordia sunk. Do you remember that?
No. I've never heard of that before.
Cruise ship that hit rocks and then turned over on its side and loads of people died.
No, I don't remember that.
Okay,
No.
Well that happened. It was the Queen's Diamond Jubilee.
I didn't pay attention to that. This was the year I was out drinking a hell of a lot.
Well, that makes sense. I was definitely drinking a lot at this time as well, so I don't remember any. This is all from an article. Whitney Houston died.
We didn't know she was dead.
Yeah. She's dead. UK hosted the Olympics.
I remember that.
I think that's all that happened in 2012, apart from these albums coming out. I don't remember much of it either. Sorry. So yeah, those things happened in 2012. So we'll go to the honourable mentions first. So these, as always, if you haven't listened before, these are albums we just want to quickly mention before we get into the ones we actually want to discuss. So did you get a chance to listen to any of the honourable mentions?
No, none of them.
No, okay.
No. I don't remember what was on them.
Well, first off was Devin Townsend with Epicloud.
I've never heard that.
Which, the name is all in the title. It is by far the most epic Devin Townsend album. Everyone that's listening to this, or most people probably would have heard the song Kingdom by Devin Townsend. No. Okay, well, it was a song that was re-recorded for this album from a previous album, just made way more epic. So if you like epic prog metal, you'll probably like Epicloud by Devin Townsend because it's really, really good. The second one is The Used, Vulnerable. I know we talked about The Used before and how much we like The Used in general. This was an album that kind of passed me by. The album before this, Artwork, I absolutely loved. And I'm not sure what was happening to me at this time, but I didn't listen to this album. And I listened to it for the first time in the gym the other day. And I really, really liked it. So I'm going to listen to it again and see where it falls into my favorite Used albums. But on first listen, I thought it was excellent. So The Used, Vulnerable, I'm definitely going back to and giving it more props.
I just listened to an album today from our to discuss albums, and The Used came on after them. It was Cry, and that's one of my favourite, if not the favourite song of The Used.
Nice.
I love that song so much.
Good song, man. Good song. Great band.
Yeah.
Just a great band in general. I think The Used are criminally underrated, unfortunately. But yeah, anything else you wanted to say about The Used before we move on?
No.
No?
No.
No.
That was it. I heard a song today. That's the
I
The height of it, the height of the excitement of it.
Today. Another one I want to mention is Fear Factory, the Industrialist. Again, probably sits in the middle of Fear Factory albums, but has its moments. Really, really good. Not quite as good as the one before or the one that came after, but it still sits in that middle range, decent Fear Factory albums. So if you haven't heard it, it's a damn good Fear Factory album. If you're a Fear Factory fan, you probably already have heard it, but it's not necessarily at the top of your lists. But I thought it was worth mentioning at least. I've got Tenacious D, Rise of the Phoenix. Are we discussing that, or do you want to just talk about...
let's discuss that.
Okay, so we'll leave that. We'll leave that out.
I might not be able to go into as much detail as you do, but I
didn't listen to it, so you have to go into all the detail.
Well, yeah, I'll go into some detail, but
okay.
Well, this time last year, I was barely listening to any new music. This time next year, I will be as good as you at listening to music and being able to describe it and analyze it as well as you do. I promise.
You must have listened to, what, like 50 new artists this year, 30 new albums? You're like...
Quite a bit, yeah.
This must be one of the years when you've listened to the most music ever.
Yeah, probably.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome.
I keep saying how good it is. Like, it's not that you were stubborn before. It's that you were just like, okay, I'm comfortable with what I've got. But this, and for me as well, I'm listening to load. You know, I do normally listen to a lot of music, but this has made me listen to tons of music. Tons of it, even compared to what I listen to. And it's great that now you're like just listening to just loads of these albums, like good or bad, but you're getting a good feel for loads of different stuff, which is wicked.
Yeah,
that's what you want for music. Yeah, the more I think the more you've listened to, the better your listening experience will be for other stuff, and the more open you will be to stuff.
Yeah, I'm also actually interested in well, I think I said it last week for a couple of the albums. I will really, really want to listen to an album, and I'll be going into the car, so I'll put it on for the drive, and I'll get like 4 songs in, like I said about the Parkway Drive album. I'll get 3 or 4 songs in, and I've stopped driving. I'm not driving for like an hour. I'm driving for a little bit, and then I don't get that feeling again for a while to really want to listen to that album. So I don't listen to any more of it, and I know Jacobs has done the same with an album recently. I can't remember which one. So I'm interested if that happens to other people. Do you ever just really want to listen to like an album but don't get more than even halfway through?
Sometimes.
Let us know.
Sometimes sometimes that happens to me.
Yeah.
When you're doing stuff, or you're like, and then your brain switches to another gear, and you have to move on from that. So yeah, I suppose everyone really gets it.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Well, right. Shall we discuss some albums in length that we listened to?
Yeah.
Or liked, or have listened to for the first time from 2012?
Yeah. Well, as we brought up Rise of the Phoenix a minute ago, let's start with Rise of the Phoenix then.
Okay.
Because I think I added it to honorable mentions, didn't I? But I listened to it.
Okay. Yeah, because it was in honorable mentions, but you put it there, so I didn't listen to it, so I didn't think we were discussing it. But then you obviously listened to all of it, so you thought we might as well discuss it. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, so we put that in. You might as well put that in. I think I surprised you. I had never, ever listened to a Tenacious D album before. When I messaged you saying, I put this one in there. Mm-hmm. And you said, no, I said it's like an amazing album. I've never listened to it. And I think your reply was, have you? I think it's incredible that you've never listened to a Tenacious D album.
Yeah.
And so it was my first time listening to this one, but I'd never actually listened to any of their albums before this at all.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I saw it and thought, well, they were massive at the time. They were absolutely huge, coming off the back of, a tribute has always been consistently good. Like, you get a download and you always hear people singing it, or Fuck Her Gently.
Yeah.
One of those. And so I thought, well, I remember seeing them at Download when this album came out, and they had the big Phoenix on stage with the balls at the bottom of the Phoenix, I think. But I hadn't listened to the album, so I thought I'll give it a go. And it was incredible. It blew me away. I don't know what else to say, but it blew me away. I had never really heard much about this album. Again, like I said, it's the previous singles that people talk about. I think the only single that I'd heard of from this album was Rise of the Phoenix, which is the first track, I believe. But I didn't even really know that song very well. So I just assumed this wasn't as good an album as the other two, but it was so good. Like, there's so many songs that are like completely different to the rest of the album as well. Like, but it works because they're more of a comedy band. They haven't got a specific style or a specific sound.
Yeah, they can basically just do whatever they want, and with comedy in it as well. Yeah. Well, I really want to listen to this now because you've said it's so good. Because the first two albums I love. First album and second, like the first album's just unbelievable. It's timeless. It's great. It's funny. We still reference it now. Me and my brother still say stuff from that album to each other with the bits where they're just talking in between the songs. So it's just stuff like that. You know, Tenacious D are huge in the sort of like metal and alternative world, aren't they? They've kind of winged themselves in somehow. I don't know how they've managed to do it, but they're in there. So you've made me really want to listen to this album now. So I think before the next episode, I'll listen to this album and see if it's good.
Awesome.
But I'm sure it will be because I enjoy everything else that Tenacious D do. So
yeah, and I only listened to this once as well, only once through, and like I just sort of, I could hear the songs properly the first listen. Like, you know, we spoke about before, like when you said about Slipknot as well, whether they're a grower, the album's a grower, and like you don't really take it all in the first listen. You have to listen to it a few times. But this one, I listened to it once, and I was like, yeah, this is incredible. One of the best albums I've heard.
That's cool. That's good.
Yeah, but
I was saying before, the only song I've heard off of this is the Roadie. I haven't heard any other songs because I know that I've seen the video for the Roadie as well, but that's the only one at the time I heard, and the ones I've known since. But yeah, I'm definitely going to go back and check it out from your recommendation.
Yeah, I didn't know the Roadie was a single either.
Yeah.
But that song is so good.
It's got a funny video as well.
But like you said a minute ago, you don't know how they've got themselves into the rock and metal and alternative world. This is what I was going to say when we were talking about Paramore, because they've got an acoustic guitar and a singer. You know, they aren't metal. You know, people were saying Paramore aren't pop, aren't emo or pop punk anymore. Well, Tenacious D are an acoustic band, like with comedy. So you can't say they're a particular genre. So I don't see how it works.
I think it's when you're tied to something, like it's when you start out as something. Like for Paramore, for instance, they started out as that. Now they've evolved into something else, but they still have ties within it. And I think Tenacious D, because they're so involved with other people, and they had Dave Grohl drum on the first album, and Jack Black loves metal and rock so much. Also, Tribute was played every minute of every hour on Kerrang. So all of the metalers would have seen it, and alternative people. So I think they have weird ties to it, but you're right. It's not what you would expect to have at Download or something, but because they're so weirdly layered, engrossed into the sort of psyche of metalers and alternative music, it fits in, but it doesn't at all.
No. Yeah,
I get what you mean. Totally. Yeah.
Yeah. Even like the elitist Bloodstockers would probably accept them, but they wouldn't accept just any other random two people acoustic funny.
It's true, because a guy, someone who goes to Bloodstock would say to you, "Oh, fuck Ghost."
Yeah.
Fuck Ghost, man. Fucking pop metal. Oh, but I love Tenacious D.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think because they're I'm doing air quotes here, you can't see this, comedy band, they get away with a lot more. If they were a serious band, you know, they would have been thrown out a long time ago. But I think because of it's a joke, so it's allowed to happen.
Yeah.
Whereas other bands that aren't a joke get lambasted for doing a lot less extreme things.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Definitely. But yeah, that was my take on Rise of the Phoenix, and I can't believe it's taken me so long to listen to this album or any other Tenacious D album for that matter.
Well, I highly recommend the first and second ones as well. First one especially is unbelievable. We weren't even talking about Tenacious D, and I'm pretty sure last week or the week before I was playing it and annoying Vicky when she was trying to get ready, dancing around, singing all the songs. So
the first one, I would imagine I've heard it at some point when
you've probably
somebody
heard
else
bits.
has had it on.
Yeah, you've probably heard bits, and Did you ever watch the Tenacious D film?
The Pick of Destiny?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's the second soundtrack.
The
It's
second
all from the movie. Well, most of it's from the movie, not all of it, but 90% of it's from the movie.
Yeah, I was going to ask actually. I never looked it up. I wasn't sure what came first, the album or the film. I wasn't sure I was wondering if they did the film and then took it off as a soundtrack or did the album.
I think they were released at the same time. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so they worked them in together. Okay.
Well, they didn't start off as it started off as they were playing comedy shows. Then they'd done a HBO series,
right,
which was Tenacious D. Then they made the first album. Then they made the movie in the second album, and then Rise of the Fenix. That's how I understand the Tenacious D timeline. But their original HBO series, before they'd done the first album, it's only like 6 episodes. Yeah. It is incredible. It is absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I've never really
if anyone is a Tenacious D fan and hasn't checked this out, try and find the original Tenacious D HBO episodes. If I find them anywhere, I'll add a link onto this episode or get Adam to add it before the episode goes out. But try and find them because they've got all the original songs, but they're all the original versions of the original songs. So they were recorded for the series only before they recorded the album. So, like, there's no tribute. That wasn't done. I think that was done specifically for the album. But there might be tribute, actually, on the last episode. I can't remember. But a lot of the songs that are on the album are on that HBO special, but they're slightly different. So if you're a really big Tenacious D fan, it's interesting to see how the songs evolved into the first album, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that is cool. I didn't know about that.
Yeah, it's good. I'll try and find them. You will like, oh my God, they're so good. I love them. They're brilliant.
Cool.
But yeah. That's Tenacious D. What's the Fenix? And I will listen, I promise you, because you've made me want to listen to that album now.
Awesome.
What would you like to do next?
Well, let's go on to another one. I can't talk about it at too much length, but last episode I kind of bashed Stone Sour a little bit. So I thought, because I'm on this music enlightenment thing that I've been on for a while, I should probably give it a go, because they released an album 10 years ago, and it was called The House of Golden Bones, Part 1.
Yeah.
Was that? Yeah. I think it was it. I
That's
haven't got the notes next to me. So I thought, yes, I probably should try it and actually be an adult about these things. And it was all right, actually. Yeah. Obviously, the second song is probably one of the biggest ones they released from it, which was called, I'm going to find it. I can't remember. Absolute Zero. Yeah, the second song, Absolute Zero. I'm sure most people will know, and it is just an absolutely amazing song. I liked it before listening to this album. I'd never gone out of my way to listen to this song, but because it was like quite big, I'd heard it and I thought it was all right. But yeah, no, listen to it properly and wanting to listen to it, I realised, yeah, this is an incredible song. And the rest, I think the rest of the album is pretty good. I didn't have as good a listen to it as I did with Tenacious D, but I'm going in the right direction, and I'm listening to albums that I probably wouldn't have listened to due to my own original, possibly wrong opinions on it. So, yeah.
I like it, though. I like that you're delving into stuff, even areas that you're not even that comfortable in. You're like, you know, I'm just going to dip my toes. And I was going to use a Tenacious D reference.
Yeah.
From the album. Dip my toes in jacuzzi, baby. That's exactly what you want to do in music, don't you? Dip your toes in.
Yeah, I mean, well, because the thing is, I absolutely loved Stone Sour's first album. It was, I listened to it over and over and over again. I can't remember what number this album was. It definitely wasn't the second album, maybe a third or fourth. But yeah, I just never bothered going back to them after that. And so I thought I probably should. And it is the kind of thing I would like, and it is good music. It's probably got a lot of fans. Most people who... have you ever listened to this album? Or did you follow Stone Sour much? No?
Yeah, first album was really good. Second album, Come Whatever May, was incredible. And then I just stopped.
Yeah.
And I haven't listened to... I've liked a lot of the singles they've released. Song number 3 of the album they released in 2017, which I think might be their last one. That was excellent. So singles I've enjoyed, yes, but I haven't, honestly listened to a Stone Sour album since 2006. So it's been a very, very long time. And I remember people really liking this album, House of Golden Bones Part 1. I remember people really liking it at the time.
Yeah.
Don't know why
me
I
too.
didn't get round to listening to it. I'm not sure. But I do remember people giving it praise, saying it was really good.
Yeah. And I think it was quite good. Like I said, that's sort of the one listen to one run through I gave it. I can't remember which songs it was now, but there was a couple of songs that stuck out, and I was like, oh, this is quite a good song. But I don't know which songs they were at this minute. I wasn't able to write them down when I was listening to it.
That's okay, but at least you went through it and you had a good listen. And
Yeah.
overall, what you heard was good.
Yeah, so I will probably listen to more Stone Sour albums now. And like I said, I can't go into that much detail about it, but I just wanted to mention it was out 10 years ago, and it was quite a good album.
Well, it looks like they've done House of Golden Bones Part 2 the following year.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. We spoke about how crazy it is when bands release an album a year, which is mad.
Yeah.
But that's cool. Yeah. 2012 and 2013 for parts 1 and 2.
Yeah.
So,
was there
awesome.
any other band? I didn't put any other albums on here, did I?
No, but there was one that I didn't get round to listening to that I thought you might know, which was the Shinedown album that we were going to talk about.
I do know it. I didn't listen to it because the same reason I didn't listen to the Papa Roach one last week. I've listened to it to death. Not to death. I've listened to it to life. That's not even a phrase. But anyway, I've listened to it a lot. So I want to listen to the other albums first, and I never got around to listen to it. But let's go to it and see what's actually on it. Bully. Oh yes, I remember this. Yeah, Bully. I forgot how good. So Amaryllis. Yeah. Should probably start properly. Right. Let's go to Shinedown. Yeah. So 10 years ago, 2012, Shinedown released Amaryllis, which was 3, 5, 2, 3, 4. It was the 5th album. I thought they only had 4 albums out. What is Leave a Whisper? I don't know. Apparently, according to what is Threat to Survive? Cut the cord. Yeah, I didn't like that one. I thought this was their 4th album. According to Spotify, it's their 5th album. I don't know. Spotify is probably more correct than I am, but
You never know.
They were already getting quite big at this point, weren't they?
Definitely. This is when I'd seen a song or two in like 2006, like when they first came out, sort of on Kerrang! But I was like, I don't really like it that much. But this was the time when I started to pay attention to Shinedown, especially that Enemies was a wrestling song. It was the Raw theme tune, so you'd hear it all the time when you watched Raw.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's an absolute tune. Who does this? And then I sought it out, and then I thought, actually, this band are really good. So this is about the time when I started to notice that Shinedown were actually quite good. And I remember at the time people really liking this album as well, saying that it was excellent, and think this is when like a lot of people started to notice. I might be wrong about that because I don't know anything about Shinedown lore or what album's done well or whatever. But for me, I feel like this is the time when people started to notice and take note of them themselves.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I think I already knew them it's probably from about 12 years ago now, so 2010, probably around, Sound of Madness, Somewhere in the Stratosphere is when I got into them. But yeah, they started playing massive shows, and I think Bully was like I said earlier, Bully was the first song released off of this album, and it just blew me away. But I think it took a lot of people by surprise how good that song was. I mean, the meaning behind it as well. The what's the word? Not meaning behind it. The theme, not theme. Do you know what I mean? I can't think of the word right now.
It'll come.
But yeah, I mean the lyrics of the song and what the song is about, I think hit a lot of people in the right places as well. But yeah, I mean there's loads of good songs on this album. See, I don't actually recognise a lot of the names on this song in this album, but I know I've listened to it a lot. I think I've said before I listened to them for like 6 months straight.
Yeah,
but I don't think the album after this was as big. Threat to Survive and Attention. It could just be my perception. I feel like they peaked at Amaryllis.
Oh, okay. Because Threat to Survival, which 2015 has some absolute bangers on it.
Yeah. I wasn't that keen. I mean, Cut the Cord, that's one of the biggest ones they play live now.
State of My Head as well.
Yeah.
State of My Head's an absolute tune.
But I wasn't that keen. I really wasn't that keen.
Okay.
And Attention again. I think Kelly really loved this album.
Yeah, Attention's probably my favourite Shinedown album.
Is it?
Yeah, it's awesome. Really good. I loved that song Devil as well when they released it. I was just like, oh my God. The song, the video, everything. Brilliant. Really good.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I don't know what else to say.
Oh, the fucking hell. That's good stuff. What did you think of the new album? Is it going to be in your Adam's top 10 albums of 2022, or is it not going to make the cut?
I only listened to that one once, and it made me think of what you said about bands copying Scandinavian bands. Although I've got a thing to say on top of that after. So there's a band that I listened, well, not so much. I listen to a lot called Machine Supremacy, and they've got a lot of like sort of stopping and just talking in between tracks. And I'd never heard that on an album before, and then Shinedown did it for this one. It's a lot of weird. I don't really know the story behind it. Like I said, I only listened to it once, but I assume they all sort of fit together.
Yeah.
But then we heard it on the radio.
Queens of the Stone Age.
Queens of the Stone Age thing, yeah, and that was obviously 2002. But I'd never listened
Before
to that.
you said that about before you said that, right, about the talking in between songs, I didn't look over at the right-hand side and look at the track timings. I just saw 20 tracks and I was like, wow, that's a lot of tracks to the album, but actually only half of those are songs.
Yeah.
All the rest are just little, like you said, speaking bits or whatever they are. Because I thought, bloody hell, 20 songs is a lot for an album. That's a hell of a lot of songs, but they're not all songs, so that makes sense. Yeah, okay.
But I think 17 was a lot. I think there's 2 Mudvayne albums that have 17 tracks, and I struggled to get to the end of those albums. LD50's got 17.
I feel like that's too much. I personally would never be in a band that releases an album that has more than 12, 13 tracks at most.
Yeah.
20's a lot. 17. I mean, that's got to be a really, really good album for people to pay attention that long, especially these days. Yeah. As we know, we won't say any names, but certain bands play main stages of certain festivals without even releasing an album. So who says you actually need to make albums these days? The answer is no one. But yeah, cool. Okay, so we've gone completely off of the topic on this one.
I want to go back. So I have seen people saying like the bits in between the tracks was almost off-putting enough to make the album just a dud for them. Like they didn't care about it. And reading that, it felt weird to me because it was like a normal thing to me. I thought it was interesting that another band had done it. So maybe the people who didn't like it have never heard an album do that kind of thing. Or a band do that kind of thing with an album, and they're like, "What the fuck is this? This is weird." Like, but
I'm intrigued now that I've just saved it to my albums to listen to.
Okay,
cool. Because I'm intrigued. That's intrigued me now. 20 songs, not all songs, obviously, but all these little things has intrigued me so much that I've just added it to my list. So
I do want to go back and listen to it.
That. I think it's worth. Maybe it's worth our attention of a revisit and see what the hell's going on with Shinedown these days.
Well, I mean, it's Planet Zero, isn't it? And I think it's all about the planet. Is it all about the planet dying, I believe, or us destroying the planet?
That's what the cover looks like. The cover's really cool, actually. It's simple. I think bands these days, with all the AI designed covers and stuff, go a bit too mental when it comes to album covers. But this is nice and simple and looks really cool. So yeah, I'll definitely check that out, dude.
Cool. But yeah, go back to Amaryllis. We were talking about. It's probably not. I wouldn't say it's one of their best albums, but it's definitely still very good. I mean, we've talked about as well bands releasing songs that are better than their previous best song, and I think that's one thing Shinedown do really well. And it probably happened with this album. I don't think I got into it as it was released. It wasn't. I wasn't really paying that much attention to them at the time. I don't think. I don't know. I can't remember.
Yeah, to be fair, 2012 was quite a while ago. You're okay.
Yeah.
We'll let you off.
Well,
We'll let you off.
Like I said,
with that one.
I think I spent a lot of time in the pub in 2012.
I think we all did.
Still lived at my parents' house, but I hated staying
Wow.
in. I hated being in the house at the weekend on my own. So I was like, I need to get out just for the sake of getting out to be drunk with friends in a pub. So
you were just out constantly.
yeah,
Nice. But yeah, cool. Really good. So yeah, I'll bit of homework for me on that one. Then I'll check out their new album.
Yeah.
But yeah, I from the songs I've heard of Amaryllis, I like them. I like them a lot, especially Enemies. Really good. Bully's really good, and I remember the song Adrenaline being really good as well. Not like I remember what it sounded like.
no, I can't remember.
But yeah, good. All right, shall we move on to another album, dude?
Yeah, go for it.
Let's start with Paradise Lost's 2012. We've done a Paradise Lost album on every one of these,
We have,
which is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, you know, every 1992 they released an album, 2002 they released an album, and 2012 they released an album. They're very consistent with the twos. Fair play to them. So yeah, Paradise Lost
Well,
released.
it must be a new album this year then, 2022.
Oh, I'd like that.
A triple
I'd like
album,
that.
3 CD album.
Their last album was fucking fantastic, so I'm well up for that. So Paradise Lost released Tragic Idol in 2012. Did you listen to this?
I did. I had never listened to it before this, even though I've been a bit of a fan of Paradise Lost before.
Mm-hmm.
The first track is a bit weird. I wasn't keen on it from the first track, but as soon as it went into the second track, I was like, yeah, this is more like it. This is fucking awesome. and then the album, like, it felt like I was only listening to the album for about 5 songs, and then my Spotify started playing other random things. I was like, I must have listened to the whole album.
It's quite short. I think it's only 10 songs.
Yeah.
So it is quite short. But yeah, I get what you mean. It gels really well together, this album. It just sounds like one big song.
Yeah.
You don't notice when a song's changing into the next one, which is pretty cool, actually.
Yeah.
But I was just intrigued to know what else. Is there anything that stood out, or anything you want to say about the album itself, or anything that you want to mention, or did you just overall think it was good? Because that's good.
Yeah, no, I just overall think it was good. There's nothing I can pluck out from any specific thing. I only listened to it the once, and like I said, I didn't even realize I was listening to it for a lot of the time. I was like, oh, that was good, and it is gone. It was gone.
Yeah, it's done. It's gone.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. What I'll say about this one is, like, in the lore of Paradise Lost, from this album, the few after and the few before, this is when they started to go back to being more metal,
right,
than including anything else. Like, if you compare this album to Believe in Nothing, the album that we listened to last time, they are very different. That one's like new metal synth stuff, and this is literally a metal album, a gothic metal album. So there is, like, in 10 years, a lot of evolution for this band. But yeah, it's really good. I think going more metal it put them in the right direction. They still got the clean, sort of nice hooks that they didn't have before, that they took from, like, that middle new metal-y part. They added in him doing really nice clean vocals.
Yeah.
And to keep that with the metal actually made a lot of sense, and I think made Paradise Lost actually better than they were in the 90s. But still got all the, like, gothic melodies and synths and, all the beautiful guitars that you want. This one in Paradise Lost album sits quite high up in decent Paradise Lost. It's not top 5 for me, but it's up there. It's really good, solid Paradise Lost album that you can listen to and go, that's a really good album. So it's just another cracker from these guys, really. I'd say the standout songs for me are Solitary One, which is the first song that you didn't like. It is really good. I love that song. Fear of Impending Hell, Honesty in Death, and In This We Dwell are probably my favourite songs on the album. But as we said before, and we talk about Paradise Lost a lot on this show, it's probably my fault. Adam a little bit, but more my fault. If you like any type of metal or any type of dark goth stuff, you will like this band. So go and listen to any Paradise Lost. But if you like your metal with a little bit of gothic melody, listen to Tragic Idol. It's really good. Right, should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, go for it.
Next, let's talk about Deftones. Because I was really interested to see what you thought of this. Did you listen to it?
I did.
Oh my god! Okay, right.
Not in full, I'm afraid, for this
Not
one.
in full. Okay, because
I wanted to.
I listened to this album and I thought this might actually be a Deftones album that he actually likes because it's quite heavy.
You are correct.
Yes! Oh my god! No way! Are you serious? Are you being serious?
Yeah, I'm being serious. I've never ever liked Deftones. Going on like Back to School, I hated Back to School when it was always on Kerrang and Skurs, and I just did not like that song, and it put me off him. And I think I said last episode, I think he's whiny. But you get used to that. Listening to this album, I can't put any specifics from any of the tracks, or even the names from the tracks, because I was busy. I was driving. But I was listening to it, thinking, yeah, I like this. Like it works. It kind of, you get used to it, and he's not as whiny as I thought he once was.
Oh, I like it. Okay, so we're talking about Deftones' 2012 album, Koi No You Can. And yeah, I'm surprised. If you're an avid listener of this podcast, you will know that Adam doesn't hate, but he's not the biggest Deftones fan, which is fair enough. So when I was listening to this, I thought this is probably one of the most heavy Deftones albums, like the heavy songs. It's got slow bits on it. They always do that. Yeah. But like Swerve City and Levers and stuff, it's real heavy riffy. And I thought, yeah, he might like this. And I can't believe I was actually thinking that. I was like, oh my God, he actually likes something that Deftones have done. This is unbelievable. Amazing.
It is, yeah. And I would listen to this album again to try and get into it a bit more.
Yeah,
and take some
awesome.
more from
I think this is, again, in Deftones albums, this is right up there. This is a really solid, awesome Deftones album, which, at the time, I really didn't like.
No, really.
So that would surprise you. Your first listen to it, you really like it. On my first listen in 2012, I really didn't like it. I was not invested in this album at all. I don't know why. My friend Aston, who is a big Deftones fan as well, was playing all the songs for it, and I was like, I don't know, man. I'm not sure. I don't know. Because Diamond Eyes, the album before this, I probably consider to be the best Deftones album, or if first or second. Yeah. So I was expecting, and they went in a different direction to what I thought they were going to go in. Similar, it's similar to the Diamond Eyes, but it goes off a little bit in other places. So I remember at the time thinking, nah. And then a couple of years later, I listened to it and I was like, oh my God, what was I thinking? This is really good. I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't in the right headspace, or I just wasn't in the mood at that point in time to listening for Deftones, because sometimes I go through massive phases of music. I always love them, but sometimes you just don't want to listen to something.
Yeah.
So it just didn't gel with me at all. And then a couple of years later, I went back and I was like, oh God, it's really good. What was I thinking? I saw them on this tour as well. So the songs that they played from that album, I probably didn't enjoy at the time.
Yeah.
But in 2012, I saw them at Brixton Academy. And they were fantastic. The Deftones were always good. But I remember really not liking it, which is weird. But I would say, go on, sorry.
That is interesting, and I think that's something we've talked about before. Is when you listen to an album, it changes. Like if you I listened to it and it's 10 years old. You listened to it at the time. You were probably comparing it to the previous album.
I was.
Whereas I obviously wasn't. But if I was to listen to the albums in order now, I probably wouldn't compare it to the previous album.
No.
Which is weird.
That is weird. It's all context, isn't it? Really, when you think about music.
Yes, perfect. Yeah, that's exactly
you can go
the right
into
word.
Something like if you go into something with like a predetermined idea of what you think it's going to be, that could change the way that you feel about the album when you go into it.
Yeah.
If you go in having no idea what the hell you're going to listen to, you might appreciate it more.
Yeah.
So, or the other way, you could go in with a thing saying, I really like this band, I like whatever they do, so I'm going to like it regardless. Or you could go in completely blind and be like, this is trash. So, do you know what I mean? Like, you never, like, other music really does affect where your mind's going to take you when you listen to other stuff.
Yeah.
Just from experience.
Yeah.
It's just like going back to the Slipknot album again. Some stuff just completely takes you off guard and you're like, wait a minute, what?
Yeah.
What have I accidentally put Elbow on? Oh no, wait a minute. It's the new Slipknot album. Like stuff like that. Like that just takes you by complete surprise. And that's good because even if you go in with a like preconceived notion, you're just blown out the water straight away and just like, okay, I don't know what to think or say or do with my mind.
Yeah.
Which is great, and which is why we always talk about music.
What,
But yeah,
one
sorry,
one
I'm
thing
getting really weird with that.
Yeah, no, just to add on to that a little bit, because one thing that has always amazed me and blown me away, not really blown me away, but I don't know, that kind of feeling, is you obviously, you're not born with a music taste. Nobody is born with a taste in music. You look like you're going to say something, but I'll finish.
No, it wasn't.
Okay.
I was agreeing with you.
Okay. Oh, good. I thought you were going to come up with some scientific experiment that you've heard of that if your music is played while you're in the womb, it means you are going to be into that music genetically. You must be into that. But anyway, yeah. No, I've always thought it. I've always known that I have chosen to like Scandinavian melodic death metal and 90s boy bands. Which is my taste in music, and
I love that.
And Bloodstockers, they choose to only listen to Black and Decker metal.
Black and Decker metal.
But obviously they will claim that their music is superior for certain reasons, but it's not. They choose to like that music. There's no musical reason why that music is superior in any way, shape, or form. It's just opinions.
Yeah.
Sorry,
exactly.
that was an unnecessary dig at Bloodstockers. That's 2 in this episode now. I apologise, Bloodstockers.
Hey, listen, I've been to 2. Love you, Bloodstockers.
Yeah.
You're the dudes. And dudettes. And dudesses and whatever else. But yeah. Listen, 2 disses.
But yeah, no, like, yeah, you're not born with a taste in music. You pick it. Whether you subconsciously or consciously do it, most people probably subconsciously. It comes from. I've gone too far into this. I can't explain it too much more. We should probably go back to. But
anyway, the end result of this is that Adam, in his mind, has chosen to like some Deftones, which me and other Deftones fans that listen to the podcast will be very happy about. From this album,
more than anything, I have probably chosen not to dislike them, or not to dislike the album. There's a difference. Okay. There's a difference in that.
I like that. If you listen to it again, I'll be very happy. Or any Deftones for that instance. But yeah. I would recommend from this album, songs-wise, Swerve City, Leathers, Entombed, which is probably one of the best Deftones songs, and Graphic Nature. Very good, very heavy album. If you're a Deftones fan, I'm sure you already know about it. If not, go and listen to it, because I missed out on it for a few years, and it was stupid. If not, and you want to get a taste of Deftones, this is probably quite a heavy place to start. But I'd say listen to the songs Entombed and Swerve City, and it'll give you a good sort of mix of what the album's about. Shall we move on to the next one, sir?
Yes.
Let's move on. Let's move on to 3 Days Grace's 2012 album, Transit of Venus. Ad, what's your take, bro?
This is probably the one I listened to the least.
Okay.
I stuck it on today for only for about 3 songs, I think it was. No, yeah, it was this one that The Used came on after, so I must have listened to the whole album, but I think it was so super busy today that I didn't concentrate very much on it at all.
Didn't get a chance to absorb it.
Yeah.
Okay, well that's cool. What anything from what you heard? Did you like?
I think definitely track number 3, I believe. It's not really much about them. It's what my previous opinion of them was. I just thought they must have been a bit like sort of Yellow Card, pop punky, fun band kind of thing. And I was like, hang on, they don't sound what I think they sound like. So I was completely off.
This is the thing.
That's it.
From the bands that you like, you should like 3 Days Grace.
Okay, yeah.
Which obviously you went in with a preconceived notion.
Yeah. Oh wow, we're getting
and for some reason you thought
philosophical.
You thought it was something that it wasn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, from all the other stuff you told me you listened to, I would have thought you would have already liked 3 Days Grace.
Apparently,
but obviously you've thought they were something that they're not, which I've done with a lot of bands as well. I still to this day get some bands confused, and I'm like, well, I don't like them, and then I'm like, actually no, I do like them.
Yeah.
I'm getting them mixed up with another band that's a completely different genre of music that I don't like.
Yeah.
That always happens to me all the time.
Do you know? So I'm
But yeah,
just looking through
go
their
on.
singles and albums, and I don't recognise any of it. So yeah, I've never exposed myself to 3 Days Grace.
Expose yourself.
Before, really.
Okay, right. Well, you should expose yourself to more. So Transit of Venus. This is it's a good album. It's probably not in the top of 3 Days Grace albums from my point of view. Although it does have some really really good moments on it. It's the last original brackets in lineup of 3 Days Grace before the singer Adam left and was replaced by the new singer. So this was the last album with him on it. A lot of people don't like the new singer, where I absolutely do. Other people think this is the last true 3 Days Grace album. But it is really good. Weird thing is, actually, he left abruptly with the band and they were just about to tour with Shinedown.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, okay, oh, that's cool. That's weird.
Did he have a good
so yeah,
reason
he was
for that after the fact?
He said that he just really wasn't interested. I think they'd been a band technically for like 20 years since they were like teenagers. And I think he was just like, time for a different, part of my life. And I think it was quite abrupt when he left, and the rest of the band were like, pretty sure we were supposed to just go on tour. So I don't think they never toured this album.
Okay.
I think they done a couple of shows with the new singer, but they didn't do like a full blown tour, which is sad because it's got some good songs on it. But yeah, it's good. But this is the 3 Days Grace album that no one really talks about. And none of the songs are like high on their Spotify or anything, even though I think it has its great moments on it. Like Sign of the Times is probably one of the second best, I would say, opener for a 3 Days Grace album. Absolutely fantastic. Chalk Outline, really, really great song. Misery Loves My Company. Oh, great tune again. Give Me a Reason, really, really nice ballad. And Broken Glass probably has one of my favourite 3 Days Grace chorus hooks. So a really solid 3 Days Grace album. If you listen to this and you like, any Breaking Benjamin or any of that sort of American, alts, rock, almost into metal stuff, 3 Days Grace will be a massive grab for you, and they're definitely worth listening to. I wouldn't say this is the place to start. I'd say there's other albums that you could listen to that are much better, like Outsider, which was their previous album. And probably go to 1X, which, as I say, is the album that gets most people into 3 Days Grace. So there's better places to start, but still, if you want to have a look at it, go do it. Transit of Venus, it is a good album. Adamante, shall we move on, sir, to our final two discussive albums?
Right after this, I've just remembered what I was doing in 2012.
Here we go.
I was listening to 2 Sonic Syndicate albums. And that was it.
What, just simultaneously?
Yep. For about 2 years. I think I passed my driving test in like 2010, and I put them in my car. I put all 4 of their albums in my car at that point, but the only 2 I listened to was Only Inhuman and We Rule the Night. I didn't really like the other 2. And yeah, I listened to those 2 albums for about 2 years. Nothing else.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah, like... It amazes me that you can do this. Like you said, like when you listen to Iron Maiden for just 6 months constantly.
Yeah.
I could never do that. As much as I love these bands, I have to mix it up with stuff. I'll listen to an album of a band, full album, or 2 albums, but then I have to go somewhere else. I can't just listen to one artist. And I actually find that incredible that you can do that, because I 100% can't do that.
Yeah, well, I think at the time I was just like, I probably tried to listen to other stuff, but like you said a minute ago, I just wasn't in the right headspace for it. I was like, no, I want to go back to this album. I don't really want to listen to that, and it just doesn't sound good either. It doesn't sound good if you don't want to listen to it. So
okay, well, that's
2 albums.
That's insane. So there we go. Now we know. Just picture Adam just sitting in a pub listening to Sonic Syndicate, and you know what he was doing in 2012.
Yep. But yeah, that's why I don't know a lot of the albums from this sort of era.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Well, at least now you're listening to them.
Yeah.
Going back to 2012 with everyone else. Okay, let's talk about Linkin Park, and we can finish with the other one. So Linkin Park's 2012 release, Living Things. Did you listen to it, and what did you think?
I did listen to it. I wasn't that keen. This is one of those times I would really want to go and analyse everything they've done, rather than just analyse the one album. and go like
Okay.
what they've done. But I don't have time to do that kind of thing. But yeah, no, I wasn't keen on it. I don't remember what songs were on it. Let's have a quick look. I don't think there was any songs I really knew from it from beforehand. How many albums had they released at this point? Oh,
This was album number 5.
Oh, hang on. Yeah, I got down to Hybrid Theory and Meteora, like what you said earlier. And I was like, oh, this is the one after Meteora. But no, that was re-released in 2012.
Oh, don't get me started. See, look, an example of it right there. Spotify not putting albums in order again by re-released years.
Yeah.
Really frustrating.
Although it has got Hybrid Theory, Reanimation, and Meteora at the bottom.
Okay, that's good.
But then it's got them again up a bit later. But yeah, no, I didn't like this album. I didn't like the direction that Linkin Park went after Meteora. It's what they wanted to do, and I just stopped listening to them. So that's all I can really say. Like, I wouldn't be one of these people that bashed them for doing what they wanted to do. We spoke about before. They had the world in their pocket after Meteora. They had a formula of how to write songs, but they decided not to do that. And that might have been what kept them going. If they released a third album that was pretty much a copy of the first two, people might have got bored of it and gone, nah, I don't.
Definitely.
And they might not have carried on after that. So they did what they did. It might have been a good thing. It might have been a bad thing. They might have been bigger than the biggest band in the world.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, no, it wasn't for me.
Oh, that's a shame. Because I love this album. Obviously, I'm a huge Linkin Park album. Followed them from the first album all the way up to the last album. This is one of the ones I go back to the most.
Is it?
Yeah, definitely. It's really got really good re-listen value. This, and I won't spoil it in case we do, our top, best to worst Linkin Park albums in the future. But I'll just say now, this is my 4th favorite Linkin Park album.
Okay.
And that sounds low, since they only done like 6 or 7. But I think that the quality of Linkin Park's albums are so good.
Yeah.
To be the 4th best Linkin Park album means it's really good.
Yeah. Okay.
That means it's decent. Which is, I'm surprised that you didn't like it.
I did feel good going in to listen to it. Like when I just searching it on Spotify and thinking to myself, I'm going to listen to a Linkin Park album when I haven't listened to a new Linkin Park album since Meteora. So I felt good that I was actually giving him a chance. But yeah, I just, like I said, it just wasn't for me anymore.
Oh, that's cool. That's all good. So Adam didn't like it, which is fair enough. I'm the opposite. I think this album's really, really good. Like I said, my 4th favourite Linkin Park album. It's a continuation of what they done on 1,000 Suns, except 1,000 Suns was a lot more synth heavy, and this one was a lot more guitar heavy compared to 1,000 Suns. So yeah, really, really good. I would recommend from this album Lost in the Echo, which is the opening track, Burn It Down, Skin to Bone, and I think that Powerless closing the album is possibly the best way Linkin Park have ever closed an album. I think it is an absolutely incredible track, and Chester's vocals are, as always, absolutely out of this world. And he will be forever missed. I will not try to cry. Moving on to our last album to discuss.
I couldn't remember which album this was until right now.
Okay.
Oh, I'm excited.
You ready?
Yeah.
Which is Papa Roach's 2012 album, The Connection. Now, we speak quite a lot about Papa Roach on this, and we will get round to doing an entire episode about Papa Roach because there is more than enough content to do that about that they've released. Ad, what did you think of The Connection? I'm pretty sure you listened to this one either at the time or a lot since the time. What's your take on this one, dude?
This was the first time I listened to it.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Wow, I'm totally surprised about that. I actually thought you would listen to this one at the time. Dude, that's honestly surprised me. I thought you were going to say that you listened to this album before.
So, story time with Adam. No, what is it? Story.
Here we go.
Yeah, so I followed them all the way up to Metamorphosis. And Metamorphosis was probably my favourite album of theirs. I listened to that to death when I was at uni. And then, I need to get their albums up a second. Yeah, I fucking loved Metamorphosis. And then they released Time for Annihilation. I didn't know that wasn't a proper album. That caught me completely
No, it
off
wasn't.
guard. It had like 5 new songs, then loads of old songs, and I was like, what's this shit? I was looking forward to new Papa Roach. And like I said, it just caught me off guard, and it sort of turned me off of them after that. I thought it was just a crap money-making scheme, re-releasing old tracks without telling people. Well, they might have told people. I wasn't keeping up with like news. I wasn't reading news outlets or about what the album was going to be. But yeah, so it annoyed me, and I didn't really follow them after that. So
Do you know what? This is going to blow your mind. Metamorphosis is my least favourite Papa Roach album.
is it? Yeah.
Without a doubt.
No, it's good. You're wrong. You're wrong.
So you know what's going to be bottom of my list when we do it?
Yeah.
You don't know where all the others going to go, but yeah, definitely my least favourite.
Yeah. But then I saw it.
Along with another one that was released around the same time that I won't put out there.
But yeah, so going back to the connection, this was the first time we listened to it, and it fucking blew me away. And I'm really annoyed that I didn't listen to it beforehand. It was like, it was incredible. It was up there. On my first listen, I was thinking, I think this might be better than Metamorphosis. Oh, I might like it more than Metamorphosis. Yeah.
Okay.
That's
awesome.
I couldn't believe it. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's cool, man. I was blown away by that. I thought you would listen to it before because we talk about Papa Roach all the time. But it's actually crazy that you missed out on this. Because I think I didn't like the 2 albums before this.
Yeah.
Really, they had some good bits, but I thought Papa Roach were going in a direction that I really didn't like.
Was that including
and I feel like this
Time for Annihilation, or was that Metamorphosis and Paramore Sessions?
I didn't like the songs they released off of Time for Annihilation, even though it wasn't a proper album, it was more like an EP with live tracks. I didn't like that either.
Okay.
I didn't like the Paramore Sessions either. That's got a couple of good tracks on it, but I didn't think it was great.
I didn't think it was that great.
No.
Yeah.
And I think this was the album when they righted the ship in a direction, and I think every album since this has been absolutely incredible.
I've not listened to any of them apart from the newest one.
Okay.
Which was a few days ago.
I think this was the time when they got to that middle bit when I was like, oh god, Papa Roach aren't quite doing what I thought they would do or where they would go. And they done this album, and I was like, straight away, I was like, this. I heard the single.
Oh yeah, what
did I hear
what did
for
they
the
release?
single?
Where
Did the Angels Go? They released not a proper video. It was a lyric video to Where Did the Angels Go? And I heard that, and I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna go to the shop. I literally just went to the CD store and bought it straight away. I was like, this is incredible.
Oh, nice.
And I loved it straight away. Yeah, this is a really, really solid Papa Roach album.
Yeah, I agree.
It's in the mix. It's in the mix. It's up there and in the mix, definitely. Really, really good. I just loved that you loved it. That got me excited.
It got me excited. Like I said, I forgot
Yeah.
we were going to do this album. And then I remembered it's the last one, and I thought, oh, you're going to love this.
That's why I wanted to say it to last, man. But I would say this album, like songs on this album, get me absolutely pumped. Like, I want to rock out. I want to sing. I want to go crazy because this album has songs on it that make you want to do that. And again, weirdly, I think just like the 3 Days Grace album that we talked about, Transit of Venus, this one is the album. No one talks about this album when they talk about Papa Roach. No one mentions songs from this album. It's not in their top. And whenever I see people talking about it, no one talks about The Connection. Yeah. Even though it's a really, really good album. But I think it's quite an overlooked Papa Roach album, unfortunately. Yeah. Because it's full of great songs. I'll just go through what my favourites are. Where Did the Angels Go? Silence is the Enemy. Wish You Never Met Me is probably one of my favourite Papa Roach songs. Won't Let Up as well is great, and a really sort of different weird mix. That's probably up there for Papa Roach songs for me. But yeah, this album, every time I listened to it at the gym the other day, and I was like, I want to trash everything in this gym right now. Like, I'm so pumped for this album. I just want to rock out and trash everything. Nice. That's how pumped this album got me. But just like you, from the first time I listened to it, loved it straight away. Yeah. Instantly was just like, it's a good album.
It's hard for that. It's not very often that happens for me.
Oh, that's good.
Usually I've listened to it a few times to actually take it in.
Yeah, absorb it.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. Yeah, exactly. We never say enough good things about Papa Roach on this. We talk about how good they are all the time. But It is really good. If you're a P Roach fan like we are and you haven't heard it, go and check it out. It's definitely worth your time. If you want to get into Papa Roach, this might actually be a good place for you to start. So if you have been, not keen to get into Papa Roach or not sure, try The Connection. I think it might be a really good place for you to start. And you can start your love affair with Papa Roach like we have.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk any more about this?
Be honest, and it's a similar note. There was an album I listened to. I can't remember which one it was now, but it was a Drowning Pool album I listened to, and I think they're in kind of the same boat as Papa Roach, where like they're never going to top Infest, Drowning Pool. They're never going to top Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. Not Infest. It was Infest, wasn't it?
Is that the first one?
The first.
Yeah.
No, Cut My Life into Peters. Last Resort. That's the one.
Yes.
They're never going to top Last Resort. And Drowning Pool never going to top Let the Bodies Hit the Floor. But they've had some incredible albums since. But it's one of those bands that I never hear people talking about. It's like people just don't really follow them anymore.
In America, Papa Roach are big. They're rather big.
Okay.
I'm not sure how big they are in the UK, but I think just in general, for what they've done and the quality of albums they've put out, I'm not comparing them to Korn, because I think Korn are much bigger than Papa Roach are. But again, with Korn should be giant.
Yeah.
They should be headlining festivals. And Papa Roach not necessarily should be headlining festivals, but they should still be much bigger than they actually are and be able to headline a stage, for instance.
Yeah.
Which in this country, I don't know about America or anywhere else, they don't do. No. Which to me is mind-boggling.
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But, acts like that, you're just like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why? Why haven't they not, And I don't think that's anything to do on their part, because I feel like probably musically they have taken the next step. But for some reason, they haven't on the stage, which is crazy, because Papa Roach are really good live.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah,
good.
I haven't seen them for a long
really
time now,
entertaining.
actually.
Really?
Yeah, not for ages.
Yeah, really entertaining, really good, loads of energy, always sound great, and worth your time live, I think, as much as they are. A lot like Korn.
Yeah.
As much live as they are on the record. So, yeah, great. But what do you know what it reminded me of before? Sorry, when you said about, we were talking about Linkin Park and you were talking about releasing albums.
Yeah.
I was in my head thinking of a word. If Linkin Park were to continue with another album that was just like Meteor and Hybrid Theory, people would have got what I have with Marvel movies now, which is Marvel fatigue.
Yeah, fatigue.
There's so many, and they're all. I'm sure there's some good ones in there, and I do watch the occasional Marvel movie, but now I have Marvel fatigue.
Yeah,
there's too many series, there's too many Disney Plus things, there's too many movies coming out. My brain is done.
Yeah.
And that's what would have happened if Linkin Park just made another Meteora.
Yeah.
People eventually would have got Linkin Park fatigue and no one would have cared.
Yeah. Yeah, it kind of takes away from how good it was in the first place.
Exactly.
A little bit.
Yeah, because it'll be like, well, Linkin Park just sound the same every album. And then Meteora and Hybrid Theory might not be looked on quite as fondly as they are now.
Yeah.
Where when they changed on Minutes to Midnight almost completely to a totally different sound, people at the time were like, oh, what the hell is this? I was like, brilliant, because I don't want another Meteora.
Yeah.
Because we just had that. Well, I don't want that again. I want something different. So yeah, I get what you mean with that. It's good. It doesn't sit right with everyone when bands change, but for band longevity, sometimes you have to adapt and grow and move in a different direction. Even if fans don't stick with you when you do, you'll get new fans in the direction that you've gone. And I think some bands, especially, people say, you can see some metalers and some metal bands and something, they're just so stubborn to change to anything.
Yeah.
And I understand, because you don't want to lose the core fan base that you've got. But sometimes, Bring Me the Horizon being the perfect example of this, change can only do you good.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that.
And not necessarily do bad things for you. It can change the band completely in a good way. Might not be good for some people. Some people think they sound like trash. But, if you're happy with it to change, your band is, and it works for you, hey, why do it?
Yeah.
Just do it. Why not? Slipknot, again. The new Slipknot album, very weird, very strange, going in a different direction in some places. Why not? why not? Take the chance.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
You might come out with something that's really good. If people don't like it, I'm sure they won't be hurt or care that much that people don't like it. So
No.
who cares? You crack on. Do what you want. But yeah, so that was our discussion of some albums released in 2012. If we've missed any that you guys want us to talk about or that you want to tell us about, please tell us on all the social medias and stuff. Just say, hey, idiots, you've missed a really good album from this year.
Yeah.
But these are just the ones that we picked. I'm sure I'll find some more, and then next week I'll say we missed these couple off or whatever. But I feel happy with the albums that we've talked about.
Yeah. And I just want to add one more thing. As you mentioned Korn, last episode you were quite surprised that I said I think my favourite album was Untouchables. And I asked a lot of people the few days after that, and almost all of them said Untouchables. Untouchables is not my favourite album. The Paradigm Shift is.
I said that was a really good album when you said it wasn't.
No, I've always liked Paradigm Shift. I reckon you said.
Okay, good. I remember saying Paradigm Shift and you were like, I'm not sure about that one. I think because you probably thought Untouchables. Dude, Paradigm Shift and Untouchables are... I swear to God, there's about 12 years between those two albums.
Yeah.
I think Paradigm Shift's like 2013.
2014, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
2013, sorry, yeah. The original 2013, yeah.
Yeah.
10 years. But yeah, I forgot.
So you don't like the Jonathan Davis Darling?
I do like it. I do very much like Untouchables, but I forgot how much I liked Paradigm Shift. I
that is a really good album
so
as well.
Much.
Yeah, that is a great album.
Yeah. But yes, sorry. I just wanted to say that.
It's all right. Fair play to you, lad.
And we should
say we'll do a Korn special.
Oh, we will. A Korn special, a Papa Roach special. Let us know if there's another band you want us to do a special of, and we will try and do it.
That has more than at least 6 albums, so we can speak about it decently.
Yeah,
there has to be some sort of caveat in there.
Yeah, true.
You know?
Yeah,
bands that have been going for a certain length of time that we can talk about them for an hour and a half to 2 hours and not just be saying nothing, basically.
Yeah. But yeah, a number of albums is good because, like, we had Tenacious D, we were talking about. The first album was 2001. They've done 4 albums in that time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that was a really good episode again. I think we should probably leave it there because none of these short episodes are actually any short even in the slightest. So we should leave it there, and we will come back to you next week, like we said at the beginning of the show, where we should be talking about our predictions for download, or our predictions and what we are hoping for, or what we would like to see, what we think about the Thursday. I'm sure so many things will come up as we're having a few guests on, and we should be able to bounce off each other and probably have some really great suggestions as well that neither of us have thought about.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's good to get other people on the show and get other people's thoughts. And same with everyone on the Discord or everyone on social media. Tell us your predictions, what you think, what you feel. We'll put our feelers out there and on Discord and get. We've got a discussion going on there about next year anyway.
Yeah.
So we'll probably pick some stuff from that and read out some stuff that people have said. But yeah, I'm interested to see what other people think, and then interested to see what actually happens.
Yeah. Yeah,
which will be really cool.
Yeah, and as I said earlier, I reckon there'll probably be an announcement between now and recording, or between recording and release, and so it'll fuck everything up, but it should be all right. It should be a good episode regardless. And so, yeah, we're going to leave it there. Come and join us on any and all social medias that you are part of. Come and join us on Discord, and come and join the discussion that we've got with it. We got an awesome community so far. We've had some really cool discussions. But there's always room for more. And
definitely.
Yeah, Simon, I don't think I've asked you about your YouTube for a few episodes. Is there anything you want to... No,
because I haven't done a video.
Find you, or where people can find you.
I haven't done a video since Bloodstock, but as soon as the download news goes up or any other festival news happens, I'll be jumping straight back on my YouTube again and getting the ball rolling like normal all the way up to next year. But if you haven't watched any of my vlogs, I got a Bloodstock vlog, a 2000 Trees vlog, and a download vlog on my YouTube. So Simon Bond on YouTube, and I'm Fonzie_Simon on Insta. So go and add me and see all the stuff. I'll also be putting up a brand new house tour.
Ah, yeah.
So when we move into my house, I will be doing an empty house tour of my new house.
That's awesome.
So that'll probably be my next YouTube video. So yeah, that'll be a cool one.
Awesome. And yeah, so we collectively are Dear Download. We're Dear Download or Dear Download podcast on most things. Our email address is deardownload2003@gmail.com. That's 2003. If there's anything you want to contact us about, you want to reach out to us and give us any pointers or correct us about anything we've said, or even you want to give us a topic that you want us to talk about, that would be awesome. Yeah, anything you want, let us know, and we're all ears.
Within reason, not anything. Within reason,
reason.
That's
very true. But yeah, I think it's time to leave it there. So, anything you want to add before we go, Simon?
No.
Okay, well, that's goodbye from Simon then.
Goodbye, everyone.
And goodbye from me. Goodbye.